Cow. Welcome to Unity of Central Massachusetts. You may not have heard this, but Jim Rosemergy's in the house. I'm not excited in the least. I've been looking forward to this day. You all know that. You have heard this over and over again, but I am thrilled that Nancy and Jim are here. And so let's open in prayer, if you'll just join me and close your eyes for a moment and take a couple of deep breaths together. And as we exhale out, we relax into this present moment. We are reminded that there is only one power and one presence in the universe, in our lives, and that presence within us connects us all. We can never be separated from the source of all that is, and therefore we are empowered to go and live out our dreams, help each other, love each other, because the divine within us guides us and leads us at all times. For this we are truly grateful, and our gratitude shows in every action we take. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't stand it.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, really. And maybe because there's some food that we're going to have afterwards. I don't know. So, okay. So we're going to move on to the unity principle for this week is unity principle number 2. And it reads, human beings have a spark of divinity within them, the Christ spirit within. Their very essence is of God. Therefore, they are also inherently good. You have a spark of divinity within you. What's that feel like? Me standing here looking at you, I see it. But we don't always see it in ourselves. So this is your reminder. You've got that spark of divinity within you. Right? You join me in the affirmation now? Together.
The core of me is God, and from the God within me, I can do anything.
Woo! Yeah. I can do anything. Okay. And now we'll move into the daily word. I had the privilege of getting to look for a daily word that matches today's lesson. And Jim's lesson is entitled More Than Enough, so I found affirmations that use that word enough. So this is from October 18th of 2011. The word for the day was satisfaction. And the affirmation is, I am enough, I have enough, and I am grateful. The scripture is from Psalm 90, verse 14. It goes, satisfy us in the morning with your steadfast love, so that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Satisfaction is not a measure of what I have or what I do, but of what I believe. Today I give my best effort to all that I do. I tap into the creativity of ideas, the discipline of patience, and the compassion of understanding. I release self-criticism and the judgment of others. I am everything I need to be to do my best. The works of my mind and hands and heart are a blessing. My attention is not drawn to comparing what others have to what I have or don't have. Nourished, sheltered, and loved through God's gifts, I focus my attention on the plenty in my life. I am thankful to be one of God's children, endowed with more than enough to have and to share. Will you join me now in the affirmation? And I want to really hear this, okay? So give it your all. Ready? Together? I am enough. I have enough. And I am grateful. Oh, beautiful. I just love it. Okay. So now we're going to bless the children of the world. We know that we all have that inner child within us, so we're blessing ourselves just as much as everybody else, right? Okay. So together,
To all the children of the world, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ that is you.
And so it is. So, as I might have mentioned, Jim Rosemergy is here. And one of the things that I grew up in Unity of Fort Myers, and that's where I met Jim and Nancy, and he was my very first Unity minister. I had no idea what I had stumbled onto when I walked into that church. I was feeling completely broken at that time. It was December 21st of 2009, and I was just a mess. And I walked into this church and I found Jim and Nancy, and I had no idea what a treasure I had found. And if you would have told me that less than 10 years later I would be in ministerial school, I would have laughed at you. And yet here I am, and I owe everything to this couple, and they are just the loves of my life. So one of the things that we always did was that Nancy would read the readings, the quotes for the lesson of the day, and so I've invited her to do so. Yay. So please help me welcome Nancy Rosemergy.
Jim's lesson this morning is more than enough. So these are some quotes that deal with that. The first is from Brad Paisley. If you make the mistake of looking back too much, you aren't focused enough on the road in front of you. And Cesar Chavez, we cannot seek achievement for ourselves and forget about progress and prosperity for our community. Our ambitions must be broad enough to include the aspirations and needs of others, for their sakes and for our own. Lee Rosemergy. When things get tough, you can start to doubt yourself. You wish you were stronger, that you could do more, that you had a better support network. But don't worry, no matter how much it may not feel like it, you are all you need to get through anything.
That's right.
From Robert Louis Stevenson. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant. Amy Voskamp. Gratitude is for the seemingly insignificant. A tiny seed. This plants the giant miracle. Attitude is a choice. Happiness is a choice. Optimism, kindness, giving, respect are all choices. Whatever choice you make makes you. Choose wisely. Those words were by Roy Bennett. Winston Churchill. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. And finally, these words from Israel Moore Ayivor. You've got seeds of greatness in you. Sow them and reap greatness. You will rise.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you, Nancy. That's why I like to do those. They just kind of set the tone, don't they? The readings before. And now it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you Jim Rosemergy.
Sky, you want to come around and sit over there so I can look at you? Sure. Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good to be here with you and just kind of feel the energy. It's really special. Of course, our first time to be here, and I know you just moved into this new facility not too long ago, right? And so the excitement is building, and the seed has sprouted, and greatness is afoot. Mm-hmm. And you know, you have just talk a little bit about Kathleen. You have a wonderful, dedicated, committed leader here, don't you?
Yes.
And you know, I hope you know how blessed you are, because I remember years ago, Kathleen was in charge of directory. You know, where you take your pictures, have your name, so you can see everybody in the church. It's outdated the instant it's published, but nevertheless, Kathleen did that work, and I just kind of stood back and kind of watched what was taking place, and just kind of watched her competence and how she went about things. And then it wasn't too long after that, I think, that I ended up releasing the administrative assistant that I had. And Kathleen hadn't even applied or anything, but I just had a feeling that she was the one. And so I interviewed a number of different people. And then Kathleen somehow got the message to apply, and she did. And what a team we formed together. It was, it wasn't just the work that we did, but the heart connection that we had with one another that continues to this day and will always be in place. So, would you want to give her a big hand here? Well, once upon a time, in a galaxy quite near, there was a spiritual community, and it was located on the shores of Peace Lake. And every summer, the rains would come, and the water table would rise, and the toilets in the ministry would overflow. And the people said to the new minister, "Don't be concerned, because your restroom is farthest away from the trouble." I was concerned. And I thought to myself this, I don't think so. Because what they were saying to me was, this happens every summer. It's just the way it is in Fort Myers. And I thought, I don't think so. And in no time at all, we had that fixed. Well, a year or so went by, we ended up in another building on our campus. And it was raining again. And the roof started leaking. And I could see it in the eyes of the people. It's going to take a long time to raise the money to fix that leaky roof. And I thought to myself, I don't think so. So I stood up on Sunday morning. I don't know if you were there then.
No.
I stood up, I had a microphone like this, and I had an umbrella in my hand. And I said, it's going to be hard to do Sunday lessons. I'm not going to be able to gesture because I've got to hold this umbrella in my hand and this microphone. And in 10 days, we had the money to fix that roof.
I believe it. I believe it.
What I saw in the eyes of the people was, there's not enough. And more tragically, what I saw in their eyes was, we're not enough.
Yeah.
And the truth is this, there is more than enough.
That's right.
Woohoo.
They were more than enough. You're more than enough. I'm more than enough. We are more than enough.
Amen.
There are prosperity lies. And one is that there's not enough. Or that we're not enough.
Yep.
And somebody has to stand up and say, I don't think so. So you want to say that with me?
I don't think so.
Let's get everybody to say it. Say it. I don't think so. Now you're saying that with a smile on your face, but we need to do it with a little bit of attitude.
That's right.
You know? You need to kind of tilt your head to the side a little bit, kind of, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That's it. Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
So there is more than enough. You're more than enough. I'm more than enough. We collectively, you together, are more than enough.
That's right.
There are puzzles around prosperity. And one of them has to do with needs. We have this hope. We have this belief that God fulfills our needs. I don't think so.
No.
I don't think that's the way the universe works. For instance, world peace. How long have we been yearning for world peace? Thousands and thousands of years we're yearning for world peace. And it has not come to be. Because it's not something that God does. What is it that God does? This is a statement that will help us, I think, as we proceed. This comes from Joel Goldsmith.
I like that.
You know him? He says, what God can do, God is doing. Is always doing it. Doesn't start up doing it.
That's right.
Is doing it. All the time. So the question is, what is God doing? And you can answer that question in one word. And Kathleen, you may know that word, do you?
I do, but I don't want to give it away.
You don't want to give it away? Go ahead and give it away.
Creating.
What is God doing in one word?
Creating. Creating.
Loving.
Being.
That's right.
God is being your source. What else could you want? God is being love, being strength, being wisdom. But here's the question, you may not like it. What are you doing? What are you doing? Being scared, feeling insecure, thinking negatively. Is that constructive? Harmful? Yeah, it's harmful, is it not? Here's the truth. God needs you. You were created to be an avenue through which that source expresses.
Amen.
Through which love expresses, strength, wisdom. It's a partnership. That's the way it works. God doesn't fulfill needs. Needs are fulfilled as you discover and experience God being the source and the love and the wisdom. And so today, one of the things that we have to uncover together is how is it, what state of consciousness, what do I have to do in order to become that avenue so that all that God is being can be expressed. So when you believe there's not enough, what do? You hold on. You hoard. You fear tomorrow. Why? Because there's not enough. If you believe that you are not enough, what do? Not much. Little. You might complain a lot, but you do little. And you certainly will give little because you judge by appearances. I was wondering, who deserves $50?
I do.
I do.
I'll do.
I think the first hand I saw go up was right here. Well, let's check this out now.
All right.
Is this a real $50 bill?
Yep.
It's yours.
Wow.
Okay. Now I've got some questions for you about what just took place. A whole series of questions. First question is, why wasn't everybody's hand up? You know, how are you going to experience the goodness and the wonder and the fullness of the kingdom of God if you don't deserve $50? And some of you, if you sat and thought about it, you would realize that hand would never go up.
Why are you hoarding it?
Not go up. Because deserving is an issue. Obviously, it's not one for you, but nevertheless. So that's one question. Second question is, was lack created here? When I gave that $50 bill, did I, through the act of giving, did I create lack in my life?
No.
I mean, that's the way it appears. I mean, I came here to Unity of Central Massachusetts with certain assets that included that $50, and I don't have it anymore. And I'm not getting it back, right? I'm not getting it back.
I might put it
So-
into circulation, recirculate it.
You can do whatever you want with it. But by all appearances, giving actually creates lack. But I think I'm feeling and sensing from you, that's not true. That something else took place, and we'll get to that in just a moment. You see, another question. Who demonstrated prosperity here today?
Linda.
45 or $50. Linda? Is that the way it works? That's the mainstream of unity thought and new thought in general, is you demonstrate something when you get something. You get $50, get a new job, get healed, get a new house, get some furniture, whatever it might be. When you get it, you demonstrate it. That's the mainstream of thought. What would happen if we turned that around? What if this was true? You demonstrate by giving.
That's right.
What would it do to your life if, when you demonstrate prosperity, you didn't get something, you gave something? Another question, what would happen to the whole unity movement if we shifted demonstration from getting to giving? What kind of change would that make? So, what did I do here in giving away $50? What did I really do? And you don't get to leave here today until you answer that question. Thank God we got some food, you know. We can hold out together here for a while. Any farmers here? Gardeners?
I know.
Yeah.
You sowed the seed.
They know what's about giving, don't they? What do?
They sowed the seed.
They plant, they sow a seed. I think that's what happened here with me. I didn't create lack in my life.
No.
I planted a seed. And I plant seeds of giving nearly every day of my life. Because I work with something some of you probably have heard about, a prosperity bank. You know about a prosperity bank? Something goes way back in Unity's history. It was in the forefront of a surge of additional individuals that began to embrace Unity. What you do is you take a coin, any coin, just hold it in your hand, and you bless it through a grateful giving heart. My mind and life overflow with the all-providing abundance of God's infinite supply. That's the statement I use, and then I give it. And I didn't bring it on a trip with me because we're traveling in a travel trailer and things bounce around and it's a long story. But you've seen that, have you not? I used to come in periodically and a whole bunch of coins were dropped on KK, as I call Kathleen's desk. And I'm still doing it. I've been doing it for years. Every day of my life, nearly, I'm sowing seeds. You see, prosperity is not a line, it's a circle. It's not a river or reservoir that you dip into and drink. It's a river. And it flows through you. That's what's meant to be. And you're the one that has to initiate the flow. And one of the ways you go about doing that, the action step, is through your giving, through the planting and the sowing of the seeds. It places you in a state of consciousness where God, being the source, can actually be expressed in and through and as you. No one has ever prospered, truly prospered, in all its fullness by holding on. Never. It's not the way it works because we can't have God being the source flowing through us when that occurs. And so, it isn't that we give to need, we give because we need to give. That's the way it works. And so the hand is open. A closed hand can pound, it can strike, it can be shaken to the heavens, but this hand cannot receive, can it?
No.
It has to be open. But the open hand that is given, it can. The happiest, the most joy-filled I have ever been in my life has been in giving. Let me give you some examples. We were on vacation many, many years ago. We were in Myrtle Beach, around Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And it started to rain, and us and a bunch of tourists, we had for the mall. So we're all there in the mall, and I'm wandering around in the store where there's sporting goods. I love sports. So I'm wandering around in there and looking at things, and there's a boy who's buying a soccer ball. And he's got it at the counter, and he's reaching into his pocket. These crumpled dollar bills are coming out, and these coins are kind of clanging all over the counter. And I'm just kind of watching this casually, and he doesn't have enough money. So he's forgotten to tax something. So I reach in my wallet, I take out a dollar bill, just a dollar bill. And I say to the clerk, go ahead and finish the transaction. When I released that dollar bill, I was so filled with joy that I was shaking. I was literally shaking. And so I went off, and I'm wandering around looking at some things, and they finish the transaction, I guess, and the boy runs by me. He gets right next to me, and he goes, thanks. And then off he goes. To this day, I don't even know that was a real boy. I wonder if that was an angel unawares, you know? Because it had such an incredible effect on me. Just trembling. Because, and it's a dollar bill. That's all it was. Let me give you another example. Same result, but something, what's given, very different. In 2004, I always have trouble with this, I shouldn't, I was there. In 2004, I donated a kidney to a man named Carl Osier. As a matter of fact, it gives me chills. My hair is kind of standing up here. I get to see him on Thursday. He lives in Booth Bay Harbor, Maine, and we're going to be up there. And so we're going to spend a day with my old kidney and Carl and his partner.
Love it.
But when the word went out that Carl needed a kidney, Nancy and I both put our hats in the ring. And we gave us our blood type. I think Nancy has a weird blood type. And I thought I didn't. Turns out I have somewhat of one too. It's a long story. I'll tell you about it later. But they picked me to continue to run the test. And I was so filled with joy. I was bouncing off the walls at the house to the extent that my beautiful and lovely wife was saying to me, what is wrong with you? That's what she was saying. What is wrong with you? And I just said, I am so filled with joy to be able to do this. Even though, you know, it's you're going to experience some pain, it's life-threatening to a degree if they mess it up. But I was just filled with this incredible joy. Now look at this, these two examples. One is a dollar bill. The other is a body part. And yet, the experience of joy was the same. That's what's there for us. You got time for one more story?
Yes.
Two stories. Later on I'll tell you, it won't be part of the service, but those of you that stick around if you want, I'll tell you about the blood type thing with Carl and I. It's kind of amazing. Anyway, at Fort Myers, where we came from, we ended up building a $2.1 million sanctuary. Wow. And it was quite a process, went on for years, and there was we engaged in something called radical generosity. And many of us did this, and it was life transforming. What we did was, a bunch of us, we all attended, many people, we attended meetings in which we talked about what unity meant to us, the legacy of the building, and how it would affect the lives of people after we were long gone for, decades and decades. And after each one of those meetings, Nancy and I'd hop back in our car. We were at all those meetings. Went back in the car and we said, well, what's our number? What are we going to give? And Nancy would give a number. Turned out, by the time we got to the end, from our first number, it was 10 times more than what we had initially thought. And what happens when you engage in radical generosity is that your ego says, as you said, well, I'm going to do this, your ego says, I don't think so. That's what it says. And it'll say stuff like, not enough. And what I heard was, if you do what you think you're wanting to do, you're not going to have the retirement that you want to have. So it started, basically what we did by our determination of what we thought we wanted to do, we got our ego's attention. And it pushed back and said, no, you can't do this. You ever heard that before? You see, Jesus said something in one of his Beatitudes. Blessed are you, blessed are you when men revile and persecute you for my name's sake, for the sake of spiritual growth. And the men he's talking about, there could have been people, certainly physical people on the outside, but I think he's talking about what happens on the inside. Because when you go to, and this is true not just in prosperity, it's true of healing, forgiveness, everything in our lives. When we push in and push forward, because we're trying to move into another state of mind and heart we had never been before, what happens? That ego, that lower self, it pushes back and says no. That's what you're looking for. Because he says you're blessed when that happens. You want that to happen because then you know you're on the edge. Defining moment. There can be a breakthrough now because you're feeling the fear, the doubt, the concern. Can't do this. You're hearing that. But then you're going to take one more step. When it comes to radical generosity, you take that one more step, you decide, I'm going to just give a little bit more. You know what happens? Peace floods your being. And you don't even know how you're going to do whatever you said you're going to do. But the peace will flood your being. And I say to you, in every challenge of your life, when those men, those thoughts begin their ranting and raving and that message of you're not enough, etc., that's what you want. That's what you look for. Because then, one more step, and you're there. You break through into another state of consciousness you've never been in before. The world is different. You are different. There's more than enough. You are more than enough. And not only that, when it comes to radical generosity and the things we've been talking about today, you become the avenue through which Spirit then expresses itself. God being the source in your life and in the world. And so I would hope that of all the things I've said to you, that in your head now you are not saying, I don't think so. Because the things I've said to you, they are true. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we need to take some of these ideas, do we not, into prayer and meditation and see what Spirit will do with us. So let's just close our eyes and get comfortable. Take a deep breath. And let it go. And one more. And that easy, peaceful breathing. Letting go. No longer holding on, but being held in everlasting arms, cradled like a child, hearing the whisper of Spirit, you're my beloved, my beloved. You're meant to be an avenue for all that I am, says Spirit. You're meant to be the place where love appears, where others can see strength and hear words of wisdom, where there is courage to take one more step. place where the source appears like a mighty underground river finally surfacing with its purity, its abundance, asking others to drink from it. You're my beloved. You and I are one, declares the one. So let the seeds be sown. Let the hands be open. The fist no longer shaken, no longer striking, not with thoughts or words or hand. God being God. You are my beloved. You are my avenue into the world. The way you see it, the world, the words you speak, the things you do, the smile, the touch. There's more than enough. You are more than enough. In this state of mind and heart, no lack of any kind. God being source, being love, being peace. So let us rest for a few moments in the silence, in the peace, and let God be God. Now begin a gentle journey back to this time and place. Breathe deeply, feel the rise and fall of your chest once more. Hear once again the whisper, you're my beloved. There's more than enough. You are more than enough. And so bring your attention up behind your eyes and open them just enough to see light and form, and then close them again. And when you're ready, let us open our eyes together and affirm, and so it is. Together, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful. It is time in the service now to fill out our prayer requests. When you came in the bulletin, you got an insert. If you need a prayer request form and/or a pen, please raise your hand, and Elisa will
Thank you.
bring you what you need. And, we place them in the prayer box over here. And after everyone has brought their prayer requests up, our prayer team prays over these for 30 days, and then we send the requests on to Silent Unity where they pray over them for 30 days. So you'll be all prayed up. So, when you're ready, you can just bring your requests up here. Now that we have our prayer requests in this box, we know that these prayers are already answered. And so I will ask you to please help me in blessing them. Please repeat after me. All is well.
All is well.
For it is on earth.
For it is on earth.
As it is in the kingdom of heaven.
As it is in the kingdom of heaven.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Sorry. That PowerPoint person, I don't know about her. I was visiting with Jim and Nancy yesterday at the campgrounds. We were in quite different attire, by the way. And I was telling them about the day that I filled in for Sky as well, because he was out, so I was the DJ, I was the speaker, I was, PowerPoint. It was a lot of fun. I do a lot of changing of hats, so. Okay, so I'm going to invite Elisa to come forward now, and we are going to say our affirmation for our love offerings. And so if you'll join me together. Divine love that I am, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. And now we have some music from Sky.
Yeah.